Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. And we are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors. And we're talking about a story that I'm concerned with.
Yeah.
I think is not the right message at this time for our Congress to send to people who are out of work, people who are trying to make ends meet, people who are trying to be good and faithful in the payments of their home, even though they're underwater and they're going to be paying on something that they have no equity in. And to all of this, we want to add that there could be a possibility that Congress is going to take a look at reducing or removing entirely the mortgage interest deduction, which homeowners have been using.
Yeah, the article makes the point that it's primarily moderate and middle income families that benefit from this deduction, and those are the families that will be hit hardest.
Yes, it is. There is some information that I had, and this comes, Tony, from a report from Congress's Joint Committee on Taxation. And so they were talking about the mortgage interest deduction. Did you know that it is the third largest subsidy that our nation has in terms of tax breaks?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. I didn't think it was that big. The third largest. What would be the two ones that would go beyond that? I would bet a farm subsidy.
Yeah, probably.
would be would be
right.
there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other one is. Folks, if you do, you can call it in our hotline. Let us know, and we'll talk about
next
talk
time.
about
That's
that.
the hotline's 952-224-2668.
Yeah, but the third largest. So if you have the third largest tax break or subsidy, and you're going to say no more to that, if they did away with that tomorrow, do you know what the U.S. Treasury would be able to see in additional income?
No, what?
$100 billion.
That's a big number.
So you can see why Congress is looking at that as a way to help deal with the debt crisis that they have. Mm-hmm. But the thing that people don't understand is that you brought it up, Tony. The average benefit is to a lot of people making between $50,000 and $75,000 a year is about $1,200 to $1,500 a year.
Okay.
If a person is making just above $200,000, it could be $6,600 that they see and receive back. However, even as people's income goes up, they don't get the whole benefit. So, for example, if you are at $50,000, whatever the interest is, you would get all of it. If you start making $100,000, $120,000, you might only get 2/3 of that.
So that's already in place.
That's already in place.
Yeah.
So even though they get more money, it's a less of a percentage of what that amount
they're
is.
reducing. It automatically reduces as it goes.
Yes, but here they're saying we can do away with this. And let me ask you: do you think that this is going to have huge repercussions?
Oh, I think it'll be devastating to the real estate market. I think that people will be even more hesitant to buy homes. Right now, young people, even people who can afford a new home, and there's great deals out there because the prices are so depressed, are hesitant to buy. I've heard, because they've seen what's happened to the mortgage market and the real estate market. They say, what if we have to move in 5 years? We cannot rely on the house. I mean, forget about being worth more and having equity. It may be worth less than what we paid on it. So they're afraid to buy it all.
Yeah. And I can't see if you are honestly, if Congress is honestly seeking of ways to try and help people out, and the whole conversation, doesn't it always seem to be saying we always want to tax the 1%, right? The really super rich. We don't want to. They keep saying to everybody, we don't want to do anything to the average wage earner, the
we
average
don't want to
American.
add any burden. Yeah,
But clearly, that's not the case at all.
Right.
And here they're taking a look at something that would deal with, they say, somewhere between 35 million homes.
Wow.
35 million homes, 35 million homeowners would see an immediate tax hike because they would not see this benefit. And at the end of the year, and that's where the insidious thing would happen, is that people, I think everybody does this. You take a look at what you got back in terms of money back at the end of the year, and you adjust. You adjust for your, what you can do on your taxes here on either paying more or getting a little bit more back. So
you change your deduction or your exemptions?
Exemptions, thank you. Yeah, you change those so that you are planning correctly, because you don't want to owe a lot of money at the end of the year.
Sure.
And you don't want the IRS to have a lot of your money at the end of the year.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden you change that. Here's people planning on this. You'd have how many of those 35 million who thought that they would be getting some money back or nothing at all now find the reality of having to pay an additional $1,200, $2,500, $4,000 in taxes.
That's an unpleasant surprise. Now, I have to say that the article goes on to quote Mark Calabria of the Cato Institute. He does not see this happening in the next few years, really. That's his opinion.
Okay.
In this political environment, he says the Democrats want to protect it because it's concentrated in high-cost areas where the Democrats prevail, like California, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Republicans see it as a tax increase, which it really is. So a lot of Republicans are opposing it, but he does think 2013 to 2015, it's going to be a hot topic, and we may lose it.
Yeah. Now, there are two different points of view here. You're right. Calabria, who's with the Cato Institute, thought that this could affect home values by as much as about 5%. If you talk to the gentleman, his name is Lawrence Yun, and he is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. He thinks that number could devalue homes as much as 15%.
They're already devalued by about 40, aren't they?
Yeah, 5 to 15.
Yeah.
Pick either of those numbers. Neither of them look good.
That's right.
Stupid economic recovery.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I just this is again the wrong message. But and he may be right. I think Calabria, that it's not going to be an issue that'll be brought up. Maybe coming up on an election year. But I tell you what, when you stop and think about a lot of the laws and how they get enacted, they end up seeming to come up at a time when people were unaware of it.
They aren't paying attention.
They aren't paying attention. And so I think it is important for our listeners to keep watching this closely, because if you don't hear anything, how can you react? And
if you don't hear anything, that doesn't mean nothing's happening.
That's right.
You've got to take some steps to pay attention.
And so I applaud groups like the National Association of Realtors and others that are bringing this up into the conversation, because individual homeowners really don't have someone to advocate
for
them. I think in this article by the Washington Examiner, they brought up the fact that they thought that the Association of Realtors, they kind of infer that maybe because they're just selling homes and helping people buy homes and they benefit from that, they want to see this happen because it benefits them. And that's true. They benefit when there's this the selling of a home, the purchasing of a home. But they're also looking out after their clients, too.
Sure. And they're the ones with the power and the clout to have a lobbying organization. Like you said, individual homeowners, we don't have a lobby to influence Congress.
And I think the National Association of Realtors is one of the larger
probably
groups.
Well, real estate and the real estate market is such a huge huge support of our whole economic system. I think we're really seeing that now and seeing what the devastation in the real estate market's doing to every area of our economy.
It really is. They've always looked at the housing industry as sort of the canary in the coal mine. You know, you can take a look at how well we are doing as an economy, how well people are doing by the way home sales are taking place, because you know, in the past, if there's so many a surge of so many more homes in a month, they know that that's going to mean so many more cars, so much more furniture and carpeting.
So it's a real indicator, of what's going to happen throughout the economy.
So this is an interesting story to keep a look out for, and I think we're going to try and keep monitoring it here to see if anything happens. Hopefully, like Mr. Calabria said, nothing between at least now and Thanksgiving anyway. Well, folks, we got to take another break. When we come back, we're going to turn our sights over to the great state of California with the city of San Diego that wants to add additional fees for trash collection, but just to HOAs. We'll talk about that after these messages.